Hello. So this is a vlog on a 3D print that I've done. It's one of the largest that I've done to date on my TiVo Tarantula 3D printer. Initially, when I did my first build of my printer, printer is still in stock dimensions. Its maximum print build area was and still is around 180 to 190 millimeters. I had done a sort of tolerance test to see the dimension of the printer and what the turnout would be of a larger print. This was Gur from Invader Zim. I had printed him like this with some supports, and the print had failed halfway through an offset. I managed to salvage the print and glue it together with some acrylic adhesive and fill the rest with Bondo and then paint it. This was actually printed on a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. I'm a big Invader Zim fan, and they had a file that was on Thingiverse like Gur, where I got that from, but I wasn't really pleased with the design or the quality of the detail in it. So I searched on Google and I found a other site that has a file for Invader Zim. It's called myminifactory.com, and the file was called Invader Zim. I will upload his sidekick Gur soon on my profile page. Very long file name, and the uploader was Robert Rollin, or Rollin. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. I'll post the link on the description. The file initially would have taken a lot less time. I upscaled this model to 207 to 214% of what the initial size was. It took about 3 to 4 days. I will try to go into detail on what the vlog will show. Originally I recorded audio and I didn't like the way the audio turned out, so you'll hear some mismatch of my voice for the video. That's normal. It's just a re-recorded audio dub over. So enjoy. Okay, so originally I had printed this without the support on the back. Excuse the wobbling. You'll see on the back here the pillar of supports. This basically helped the back of the head of the model, which is tilting a little bit on a 20-degree angle or so odd. We're in 40 hours for this model. You're going to see the time is quite far through the print, but I had had a couple of attempts where the model didn't stick to the bed. The model actually sagged at the abdomen. You'll see the pillar at the front there between the two legs. There's one supporting at the front and one supporting at the back. That was to prevent overhang drooping. I printed it without those, and it tried to print the abdomen in mid-air. It wasted almost about 10 hours, and I decided, well, that should have a support. I'll add that and give it another go. I set, I think, the pillars in the back to about maybe 30% or so odd for the infill of the supports. So it's quite a dense infill for supports, but oh yeah, so we jumped there. You'll notice in the previous video there was a box supporting my filament. This is actually showing the innovative galvanized plumbing pipe that I've used for my filament holder. Now, that was just a bit of a video showing that progress there. This is at the point where I was realizing that 172 millimeters was marginally close to the point where I would run into the top of my frame of my printer with the printer head. The resizing of the model, I wasn't calculating the wires and filament tube in the equation, so I thought, yeah, that would be fine. I can print that tall, and lo and behold, I realized right at 77% that, wait a minute, I'm going to have a failed print or a broken printer halfway through the night, and I'll wake up to worst case scenario smoke. So this is where I'm basically making a judgment call and stopping the print halfway through, well, a little more than halfway through, and I will resume with a separate file that I'll have to create in my slicer program that will have the skull cap from just halfway between the eye up to the top of Invader Zim's antennae. The antennae are actually very, very thin, and that was also a big concern, that going between the left and the right antennae, you're extruding plastic. It's going to have stringing between the two. It's going to look like a cobweb of mess if it doesn't have the free flowing movement of the printer head going left and right, and being able to extrude this plastic to that model. If any of the connectors or the wires or the filament pipe are knocking against the frame or knocking against the extruder motor, not the extruder motor, the Z motor, this will cause obvious errors in the print. So I think this is probably where I decide finally that I don't want to go through having a mess, and I turn it off. Maybe yes, maybe no. Yep, okay, so I don't have to cut the video. So you see the arms there. The arms are actually printed separately. The model there shows the base of the model all the way up to the point where I stopped. Obviously, you can see the very close proximity of where the wheel is in relation to the frame. There's not that much room for the wire to move. So I already show here a slicer concept of what I'm going to print on the final batch. Here you see the model removed from the bed. The arms are placed in orientation of where I'm going to set them in with glue. The supports were not easy to remove. I will probably show here in a second or two, but I removed the model from the bed, and it kind of flexed the supports, and yeah, here's the second half just starting. When I started it, I realized between removing the model and then starting it, expecting I'd have this print overnight, that I forgot to change the infill from a previous model, and this went from around 10 or 30% infill, which was the first batch, to this, which is about 65% infill. While this is a good thing, it used a lot more plastic than I initially had wanted to, but in the long run I think it actually helped, because the antennae are very fragile, and this particular part of the model shown here isn't that fragile, with exception to what you'll see in a second. When I removed the pillar at the back, as I'm showing here, I squish it and it should come off, one would hope. And when I did, the whole body pretty much flexed, and the neck broke, the legs broke off the torso, and yeah, it was very disheartening, but it was something that I could fix. It just wasn't expected, but I guess, yeah, it was a good thing. Reinforcing it with glue to give better durability was something that I corrected this with. In retrospect, I could have increased the infill on the body, and that would have prevented this, but learning experience. Also, I don't like wasting plastic, so I made it work. Okay, I had to do a bit of a cut there. So this is showing the glued portions, minus the head. To the right I have the Gur that I just showed in the intro of this video, and to the left we have Kirby. In comparison, you'll see Gur has a lot more wood-like tone to him. It's because of the nozzle height, the nozzle diameter rather. He was printed on a 0.4, Zim and Kirby were printed on a 0.2, and the filler primer, which is used on Kirby and will be used in further of this video on Zim, shows a lot cleaner sort of quality to the model. This is a Rust-Oleum paint. That's their filler primer product, and you can see just when I turn here, like, there's next to no evidence of spacing between the layers. It fills all the gaps between the layers a lot better than brush-on primer. It dries a little more smoothly. This one here, it's using dollar store level primer, and at the time I was happy with it. You get better and better products, and you become more accustomed to better quality. So that at that point, that was great for me, but I'm looking more for a quality kind of finish. This is what I want to go for. So a first coat of Rust-Oleum primer filler, and then a second coat will give you a very good finish. Even if you have a couple of gaps or whatnot, it'll fill those up, and you can build up the filler primer and then sand it down. I used a 120 grit sanding sponge for Kirby, and it cleaned it up a lot. There was a couple of very noticeable gaps. So, yeah. I left the head off of Zim because, one, it was a lot of weight, and I still wanted to sand off the bottom of the model of Gur so that I could have it not wobble as much. As well, I wanted to glue both portions of the head more securely than if I were to put it on while it was on the top of the model there. As you can see, there's a very slim support on his head to keep it upright, and noticing the infill on the top there by the portion where I stopped it initially, that's a very minimalistic kind of support to press down on. So next up, I think, is showing the final product, glued all together at least. Might have to do another jump cut. Oh, no, I forgot about this. The adhesive that I used here, it's by IPS Corporation. It's called Weld On 16. It's one of my most favorite acrylic welding solvent glues. I'm showing here the back of it because the MSDS is insanely specific. This is not meant for just the average user. You should be reading into the safety sheets on this. It has a notice on the back that it might cause respiratory issues and skin irritations, and it may cause cancer and all these other fun things. Ideally, you want to use this in a well-ventilated area or in actual, you should be using this outdoors. You shouldn't be using this inside. If you do inside, open a window, because you're going to get quite lightheaded if you're using it. And that's not just a ha thing. That's say goodbye to your brain cells kind of lightheaded. This has a heavy amount of chemicals in it. I turn to the left here, I think, and I show my animation box, which I've constructed out of acrylic plexiglass. I pretty much just snapped together a couple of planes of plexiglass together and welded this on. This is like 10 minutes from when I stuck this plastic together, and I can lift it by the arm, and the bottom is pretty heavy. If you're lifting it by that just after 10 minutes, that's a very, very strong weld for the plastic. But I was quite surprised. This actually works very well on PLA, and it's meant for acrylics, which I guess PLA is a kind of acrylic. I would have thought it was more organic than plastic, but yeah. Good product. If you get it in Canada, you can get it actually in Toronto from a place called Plastic World. They're over by Downsview Station, Toronto Transit, or now known as Shepherd West. You can also get it on eBay or Amazon if you're in the USA, as well as a couple other suppliers in the US, but they're very restrictive on where you can get this in Canada. It used to be carried by Home Depot, but I asked around and they said no, it's not a safe chemical. It's more meant for professional plastic manufacturing, etc., etc. So I guess they went more industrial with Weldon's vendors. So Plastic World or Amazon or eBay. Here I'm basically mentioning how I had filled in with Bondo spot filler putty. That's basically the stuff that's in a tube like the blue Weldon tube down here. Normally you would want to use something that's a little more thicker, like an actual Bondo product, putty. But I had no problem with just using the spot filler and then letting it dry, sand it down, spotting it a little bit more, and then sanding it down a little further. Okay, so here we show the final model glued together. A little closer detail on the top portion of the head. You can see on the antennae there's some blobs. That was basically what I was worried about. And some of the Bondo filler. That's a spot filler I use instead of the mixing putty. It actually fills up pretty well, and you'll still see some gap in the front there and a little bit on the back. But I used it to clean up basically all around the two portions of his head. There was a bit of a distortion on his front abdomen middle block, but I managed to sand that down well enough that I didn't have to fill it with Bondo. The two antennae would have actually run into the top of the printer frame. The antenna wouldn't run into the top of the printer frame. It would have crashed the extruder head into the top of the printer frame, and it would have probably stringed filament back and forth between the two pillars. That's one of my Citadel brand paints. I chose Citadel over other acrylics because I like the way that it has as a finish. Originally on Gur, in the background there, I had used a brand of paint called Deco Art Crafters Acrylic. I used neon blue and silver and white primer for that model, but this one I wanted a better quality finish. I like the way that Citadel actually finishes. I used it on another project, and it turned out really well. You can see here it really pops out the quality using the Rust-Oleum filler primer. And here are the choices of Citadel paint tones that I've used. And here's the final product. So as you can see, this is a really quality version on this artist's piece. It, granted, is scaled up by more than 200% of what the artist had done it in, but I decided. I mean, I'm a big fan of Jonan Vasquez's work, and this is kind of like a salute to him, and also a salute to the artist that made this model. I mean, it's a good model. I had a couple of photo sources with regards to how I designed the base to this, and also how I took a little higher detail into his eyes and arms and such. Alright, so I had to do a jump cut because I talked for a ton of time with that last section there. This is the photo reference. You can see in the eyes and the arms there, I wasn't too keen on how to do the eyes instead of having them as a simple flat pinkish color. I did the first image there, and then Earth, I took Jonan Vasquez's Earth from that image there, and I tried to transpose it to the base because I wasn't really sure what to do with the base platform there. That actually really popped out the model a lot. But yeah, if you look at this model in real life outside of a video, it's just a really nice piece. I'm really happy with this. I look over sometimes and I think that this is like an actual, it's really Invader Zim. It's that realistic looking. So much more impressed with this than the Gur, but I like them both. I mean, it's a learning process. You learn and you grow when you do anything artistic. It's not lessening anything versus the other for quality. But hope you enjoy, and thanks for watching, and let me know what you think. Alright, bye.